Today on the channel is San Diego Comic-Con 2024 right around the corner. In today's video, we're counting down my top 10 most wanted G.I. Joe Classified series.
And the spirit of Ultimate Warrior will run forever!
Kyle here, and welcome back to the channel for another edition of the Kyle Peterson Top 10, a Thursday tradition here on this very YouTube channel. As every single Thursday, occasionally, we're doing a top 10 countdown, usually a top 5 countdown, but we got a special occasion here, so we're doing a top 10. We're going off script, as last week we did top 10 WWE Mattel Most Wanted from San Diego Comic-Con 2024, what I'm hoping to see. Now we're going to count down G.I. Joe, of course, Hasbro G.I. Joe Classified. Now, of course, we're going to do this like we do all the other countdowns. We're going to start at number 10, work our way to number 1. Number 1 being the one I'm most excited for. Want to see your list? Put it in the comments down below. And remember, this is my list, so it's 100% right. Just like your list is 100% right. And San Diego Comic-Con is next week. I can't believe it's here already. Have to imagine we're going to see a lot of stuff. We always do. We'll see new figure reveals. We'll see renders. We'll also see a brand new HasLab announced officially. Everybody kind of saying it's the Cobra Rattler. Kind of makes sense. I guess you got to have something to take that Dragonfly on with, I guess. So we'll see officially on July 25th. I think it's 5 o'clock Pacific time is when their panel is happening. So we'll stay tuned to that. I will be there, like I did say. Can't wait to see what's all going on for the G.I. Joe Classified line, as it is a line right there at the top of my most favorite collecting this day and age. I love G.I. Joe ever since I was a kid growing up in the 80s. A lot of people say, Kyle, you're a wrestling guy. Well, I'm a G.I. Joe guy as well. G.I. Joe is where I started. I still love G.I. Joe to this day, as you guys know here on this very YouTube channel. So a lot of interest for me in the G.I. Joe Classified brand at San Diego Comic-Con. Have to imagine maybe we'll see a couple of people from my list officially announced, maybe renders, something like that. Maybe name reveals. We'll see what ends up happening. I got some deep cuts on my list. I got some old-time favorites as well. But it is going to be very interesting to see what we get from the Classified line, as we're well above 100 figures at this point in this line. It has really grown. A lot of stuff going on, as we do know, and a lot of product coming out seemingly at every single corner. So I have to imagine we're going to get all kinds of announcements for the back half of 2024. Into 2025, and of course, like I talked about, presumably the Rattler as the next HasLab exclusive. But I will put two little asterisks in this countdown list. 2 vehicles I would like to see. 2 things I would like to see. Heck, maybe even a little bit more. We'll go 3. We'll go 3. Now, one thing I would love to see, and we know, of course, HasLab gets us the bigger vehicles. This is a little bit smaller vehicle. I'd like to see the G.I. Joe Devilfish. I think it's a small vehicle, goes in the water. I think this is something they could do. Maybe to be a Target Walmart exclusive. I'm sure we can see a Night Force version, a Python Patrol version, a Tiger Force version. They can buck the trends. They can do that if they want to. But a very key vehicle for my collecting years when I was a little kid. I had 2 Devilfish, and I absolutely did love those vehicles back in the day. A good grandma vehicle is what they are. Would love to see those announced at San Diego Comic-Con. I've also been screaming for this one for a while. Get me Zanzibar. Get me Zanzibar with the real hair ponytail. Get me that Dreadnought pirate. Get me his air skiff with it, of course. I would love to see that as a vehicle. Probably not going to happen just because there's no real reuse capabilities out of that one, but you never know. And it's a bit of a deep cut character, we got to be honest, in the Dreadnought's grand scheme of things. A lot of people would rather have a Thunder Machine, myself as well, but I would love to see the Zanzibar. Sometime, give me that real ponytail, as I did say. And then finally, this one could be a possibility, maybe. We, of course, got Serpentor and his air chariot a couple of years ago at San Diego Comic-Con as an exclusive. I would love to see something like this, maybe a Hasbro PulseCon in the future, something like that. But it is, of course, it sounds like we're going to get some more Iron Grenadiers. Yes, Todd McFarlane, it's Grenadiers. He said Grenadiers, and that's how I used to think, too. As a kid, it was the Iron Grenadiers to me, but apparently it's the Grenadiers. But I would love to see Destro in his little chariot jet. vehicle thing he's in. Very yin-yang to Serpentor. Would love to see the gold-headed Destro in the classified line. I really do think that could possibly happen in the next year or so with some of these Iron Grenadiers coming to market. So those are a couple of asterisk wish list things, but now let's get down to it. Let's get down to the official top 10. All right, we kick off the top 10 with a deep cut, but one that put an impact on me as a little kid. Of course, we're going to, I guess it's the Deke years, and we're all searching for the Deke. At least I was on my channels, because the Deke years weren't shown in my local Fox affiliate, NBC, CBS, whatever it may be. I unfortunately didn't get to see Deke till many years later, getting the series on DVD, but I always dreamed of it. I'd see the figures, I'd see some of the stuff. However, there was a Saturday afternoon special that blew my mind. It was one of those days you're flipping through and bam, there it is. And it was a G.I. Joe drug episode. And where am I going to at the number 10 selection? We're going to the Headman. Oh, yes, the Headman, the drug kingpin. Can we get him in the classified? I don't know. It's a pretty deep cut, but man, that was an impactful episode for me, as that was really one of the only episodes where somebody actually died in G.I. Joe. So I always thought that was cool. It's always cool when you got death in G.I. Joe, apparently. Who knows? But I did have the figure back in the day. It is a little different. It is off the beaten path, but I would love to see this. And that's why he's coming in at number 10 in my top 10 list. Continuing the countdown at number 9. And number 9, we go to another deep cut line. A line I wasn't super deep into outside of 2 characters. And I remember getting this guy one Christmas morning, probably 91, 90... Probably 91, I would have to say. Who is it? We're talking about Cesspool from the Eco Warriors line. He's the big bad guy from, of course, the Eco Warriors. Cesspool was always really cool to me. That scar, that maniacal face on him. Always thought that was a very cool figure when I was a little kid. Still think it's very cool at this point now. Would love to see that in the G.I. Joe classified line. You know, you only got so much Tiger Force. You only got so much Night Force. I guess we're still in the infancy of Night Force a little bit and some of the other ones. But I would love to see the Eco Warriors subline. Could we get that as a TJ Maxx exclusive line? I don't know what we could do, but I would love to see a little Eco Warriors. I would love to see Cesspool in the line, and he comes in at number 9. The list continues on to the number 8 spot, and I talked about the Iron Grenadiers. Yes, Grenadiers a little earlier, and one of my favorite ones from the Iron Grenadiers was Voltar, and that's who's coming in here at number 8 for me. Of course, you know me, I'm a sucker for anybody with an animal, a turkey vulture or a vulture. I think it's a turkey vulture, though. But Voltar always looked really cool, and in my brain, he was always kind of Major Blood to Destro. Destro's Major Blood, like Cobra Commander had Major Blood, Destro had Voltar. That's at least how my brain worked. You create your own stories as a kid, I guess, sometimes. But he was a crucial guy in my Iron Grenadiers team. Would love to see him in the classified line with a big old vulture. I think that would be really cool. It would translate really good to figure form in the classified series, I do believe. And that's why he's coming in at number 8. We continue on with the top 10 most wanted San Diego Comic-Con reveals for the classified series by yours truly. And number 7, I would say he's an all-timer. He's from that second era of G.I. Joe. I always call it the Serpentor era here on the channel. And it is the man, the myth, the legend, a little bit Romeo, a little bit Juliet. Of course, we're talking Mainframe. We remember that episode, the classic one with Zorana. Oh, star-crossed lovers is what they were. But Mainframe, I always enjoyed. I loved having him in Dial Tone as a kid. Kind of a twosome, and I believe we already had Dial Tone announced. That's why he will not be on this list. Spoiler alert there. But we haven't heard anything about Mainframe yet, and I always liked Mainframe. I don't know what it is. Not super flashy, not all over the place. He was kind of a tech nerd is what he was, but I loved him in the cartoon, and I loved his action figure. Would love to see him in the classified line. Have to imagine it's coming eventually, and I'll be here for it, of course. And Mainframe coming in hot at number 7. Next up at number 6, Big Lob makes his move, and that's who we have at number 6. It is, of course, Big Lob, one of the scene stealers from the G.I. Joe animated movie back in the day. That's really all he ever was. Of course, we remember the 25th anniversary line many years ago. He was, I believe, the G.I. Joe Club Store exclusive for the year. You could get him bagged loose, and you could also get him on card. I did get him on card, and I believe that was the first ever Big Lob figure. Well, it's time. Get us a modern-day Big Lob in the Classified series. We need that to complete that new G.I. Joe recruit team from the movie. Of course, we still got Law & Order to go as well, but I would love to see Big Lob in the mix there. A cool character in the movie. One I was always shocked as a kid we didn't get an action figure from. For whatever reason, not exactly sure. I bet he could do the skyhook, though. We do know that. But Big Lob, an essential part of the G.I. Joe movie, an essential part of the Classified series. Get me Big Lob. He comes in at number 6. We've hit the halfway point of the countdown. You got your list together. Put it in the comments down below. And don't forget to subscribe to the channels. We got countdown videos every single Thursday on this very channel. But we talked about Cesspool earlier with the Eco Warriors. Well, if you're going to have the Eco Warriors, this is a guy you have to have. Of course, we're talking the true leader of all things G.I. Joe, be it the regular G.I. Joe team, the Tiger Force team, be it the Eco Warriors. It is my main man, Flint. Who are they going to send to clean up America? They're, of course, going to send up a guy like Flint. He's going to take it. He's going to make sure people are recycling. He's going to clean up the streets. He's going to do all that kind of stuff. It is my main man, Flint, at number 5. Not the most iconic Flint figure of all time, but I remember getting him and Cesspool at the same time as a little kid, and the battle was on immediately that Christmas morning. Absolutely love Flint, and I remember just being crazy to see Flint without a beret for once. So a very, very cool figure, a very nostalgic figure for me. A bit of a deep cut, I will admit, but I'm here for it. Give me Eco Warriors Flint at number 5. Getting dangerously close to the end of the list as we're at number 4. And number 4 is a heavy artillery guy from much later on into the G.I. Joe line. We're into the 90s now, but we truly got the right of might as we got Salvo. Now, Salvo, maybe one not everybody knows, but I absolutely loved Salvo as a kid. I thought he looked really cool. I love the Right of Might t-shirt. I need to get a Right of Might t-shirt to wear on the channel. I would wear one of those. Loved it. Loved the heavy gun operation, of course. Loved his bald head, but I loved his helmet. I thought his helmet really made him just a very fun figure playing with as a little kid. We'd love to see him in the Classified line. So much, in fact, he comes in at number 4 in my countdown. Down to the final 3, the top 3 most wanted by me in the San Diego Comic-Con 2024. Reveal, renders, whatever it may be. Hoping to see these ones here. And coming in at number 3, a little bit of cheating here. It is a 3-pack, but that's how it was back in the day. Who are we talking about? We're talking about Taurus. We're talking about Red Dog. And we're talking about my favorite of the 3. We're talking about Mercer. We're talking about Slaughter's team. Love the Slaughter angle, of course, and, you know, teaching Falcon the ways. Trying to change him, not make him like Duke. Trying to make a real leader out of Falcon. I don't know if Slaughter succeeded in that mission. Of course, we all know Flint saved the day in that movie. Watch it again. Look at it. Study it deeply. But love the 3 here. I love these 3 guys, especially, like I said, Mercer. The former Cobra Viper, I thought that was a cool story arc as well. I think there was a lot more meat on the bone with these guys, no pun intended. But would love to see these guys in a 3-pack, maybe a store exclusive, or hey, put them all single pack, whatever you got to do. If I had to choose one, it would of course be Mercer, but I did love Taurus and Red Dog as well. Just thought it was a really cool thing to have Slaughter's heavy. We know we got Slaughter's Marauders around, the Mad Marauders, whatever you want to call them. They got those coming, but I always love this team off to the side and would love to see this team. That's why they're coming in at number 3. We've hit the number 2 spot in the number 2 selection. I did reference earlier one of my favorite animals and people packs of all time. It is Law and Order. As a kid, I did not have Mutton Junkyard, the original release. I had the Slaughter's Marauders team version release, but Law and Order I did have, and I loved Law and Order. I loved the German Shepherd dog. I thought Law looked really, really cool. Just a very, very cool animal-human 2-pack. One of the best ones in there. And one of these days we could do that top 5 countdown or a top 10 on that of my favorite Joe animal counterparts, because there was so many good ones, and I always rushed to get those figures first. It always felt like so much added value. Even if it was an animal, it felt like a character. And Law & Order was a favorite of mine. And of course, a little goofy in the movie, we will say that. Same with Chuckles. Some of those guys were a little goofier in the movie than you imagined them and you're playing in your head. But man, oh man, Law & Order was a cool one, and I think it would translate amazingly to the Classified line. There's been some rumors it might be coming. I'm hoping to officially hear something at San Diego Comic-Con 2024. So coming in at number 2, Law & Order, which means there can only be one. What is it? Stay tuned. We've hit the #1 selection in my most wanted G.I. Joe classified series from San Diego Comic-Con 2024. What I hope is revealed. Hopefully we get a name, a render, actual product, something like that. It would make me real happy, and I hope some of these from this top 10, it'll be interesting to look back and say how many of these from the top 10 were even discussed or talked about. Be interesting to see. We'll follow up with that, I'm sure, in the future on this very YouTube channel. But once again, get your list together. Put it in the comments down below. Interested to hear everybody's top 10 most wanted list. It'd be really cool to see that. But #1, it is a 3-pack back in the day, much like Taurus, Red Dog, and Mercer. But not in this one here, because we know we got Nemesis Immortal. Of course, really Nemesis Enforcer, but Immortal is what they're saying, and we'll roll with it. We haven't had the Guard announced yet. Have to imagine he'll come eventually. But who am I talking about? I want a deluxe Globulus. Now, I know a lot of G.I. Joe fans, you're on two different sides of the fence. A lot of people like the military. A lot of people don't like those sci-fi elements. I think I was just at the age bracket where the sci-fi thing didn't bother me. It was just a natural course of action. I had no issues with it, so I am definitely in Team Globulus all day. Absolutely loved the Globulus figure as a kid. Thought it was one of the funnest figures to play with. It just was just really different than everything else, obviously, with the big, long kind of snake tail going on. But, of course, when I imagine Globulus in the classified line, it's going to be deluxe. Bendy wire, big tail, and, of course, he'll fit in that little bubble cocoon egg thing he was inside of. He'll be able to fit in there. You'll be able to take it out of that. Maybe a couple of extra heads. Would love to have the head with the knife in the eye. I thought that was one of the most amazing scenes from the movie as well. Globulus, definitely an all-timer, would be an amazing deluxe treatment. I am here for it all day long and twice on Sunday. And like I said, I understand some people would say Globulus wouldn't even make my top 100 because that's just not my G.I. Joe. But it was G.I. Joe for me, and of course this is my list, so it's right. But your list also could be right if you put it in the comments down below. But Globulus coming in extra hot at #1. And then once again, tell me your list, put it in the comments down below. Give this video the old thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to this YouTube channel and my other YouTube channel. Don't forget the Patreon, of course, for tons of videos, tons of bonus stuff every single day. ProWrestlingTees.com, search Kyle Peterson. And, of course, search social media, SirPaul64 on the X, _Kyle_Peterson on Threads, and on Instagram. So for my G.I. Joe Top 10 Most Wanted, I'm Kyle. See you guys all real soon.